Okay, so I figured I would do up a bit of a tutorial on tanking for Polaris Nightmare. The one thing that you want to know about is basically what needs to be impaired in this and how you should move about. The first one that we have here is the Hog Blue Jaw. You're going to be impairing the deep calling and the Mjolinar's Echo. Deep calling is optional, though it does end up saving the group from somebody accidentally dying. Mjolinar's Echo, though, is a must for you to impair. This is an aggro wiping ability. If you do not impair this, you will lose aggro, and somebody will more than likely die if you're not careful about getting the aggro back. Um, you start out by tanking right in that middle island. You can actually start out anywhere you want to tank them. That's just my preferred place to start out. After a while, though, usually after he does a Mjolinar's Echo again or another deep calling, I will move him off to the side as you see here. The reason being is it makes it a lot easier for the DPS and the heals to get at the loot without having to go through that electrified water. The next boss would be the Blair Bein Sorceress. The one thing that you really want to impair here is the Tide Wall. The Tide Wall is going to put up a barrier on her that will diminish the DPS. As you can also see, she does the death squall. During the death squall, ads will spawn, and you want to make sure that you have aggro on those ads. Having them eat your healers face off is, not exactly a good thing. Um, but that's pretty much all you have. I like to go in through the back way instead of the front because it's a direct line of sight to the boss, and you don't have to try to move her around the container or have DPS and heals move forward to get into line of sight of tank and boss. Plus, that death squall hurts everybody if they're too close, and it can be a pain. The next boss is the Varangian. You'll need at least one impair for the Mjolinar's Echo, and you just dodge backwards out of the deep blast. You can impair it, but um, the charged hacks, if you got a good set of tanking gear, just eat them. As you can see, I just dodged out of the deep blast, sorry. Um, and then again, you want to make sure that you impair Mjolinar's Echo. When he does this, he does end up going and spawning some ads. You want to grab them as fast as possible. Scan around to look for where he is going to pop up again. The Mjolinar's Echo can sometimes pop up, but normally if the DPS is rolling, you'll get exactly what you see here, a charged hack right into the deep blast, and then you want to go right back in on him after you pull out. A second set of ads will spawn, so make sure you're ready to grab aggro on those. I like to use the Crimson Theater because it does help to establish that aggro. Again, pan around, look for the next place that he is going to pop up. It's basically a rinse and repeat fight up until this portion. Um, Again, charged hack, he should just deep blast right after that, dodge right out of it. If you don't dodge out of the deep blast or impair the deep blast, it is an aggro wipe also, same as Mjolinar's Echo, so be careful there that you don't get hit and you have a taunt ready. This is where we move into phase 2 of the portion. You'll see ads spawn right behind him as he's going. Unfortunately, my group was pushing forward a little too quickly, so there was a bit of a derp that you will notice. If the group is pushing you forward too quickly and ads aren't dead by a certain time, then you will notice that you get exactly what I just did here, where I had to back up. And unfortunately, the boss is already active, so I had to get the aggro back on him. And then you see where we bring the corner. Normally, he's right in front of this. I had to grab aggro back because the Mjolinar's Echo went off, unfortunately. It was a good group, though. But this is exactly where you would end up fighting him. Now, you want to stay in the water until Mjolinar's Echo goes off, or if you feel confident enough, which I normally am not, run back and get onto that container as fast as possible. Just so that you're out of all that water. It's a lot of damage to take. And that is pretty much that fight right there in a nutshell. Just tank and spank him thereafter. if DPS is slack, then you might see another Mjolnir's Echo. The Hog Blue Mother, we don't even bother with impairs on. It is also at your discretion in a way. She does do Corpulent Slam, which you can impair. I normally just move right out of it. It's a slow moving little racing stripe. Bring her up to the back container as she will spawn bomb ads, and you want to pick these up so that they don't get past you. If DPS is quick, they can DPS them down, and this right here does not happen to the tank. As you can see though, when that happened, my healer got caught in the blast and died. Again, move out of the Corpulent Slams. This is where she does aversion. You want to drop something AoE if you can. Run back in and grab these 3 sorceresses that pop up. I do run an impair on these guys just to ensure that I have my aggro. Normally a cleanup would go off. Unfortunately, the DPS running the cleanup had an issue where cleanup was not popping for some reason, which happens quite a bit. But keeping aggro on these 3 is your main priority, so. And that's it. Easy fight. It can be a little daunting when you're not expecting the ads to pop up or you've never seen it, but it's pretty easy to get the version down. The Primordial Dweller can be a little bit of a bang up, mash up job, especially on the DPS. For the tank, it's actually pretty easy. I usually drop my Crimson Theater before the boss. That way, anything that comes out ends up going to me, hopefully. We had a DPS using mag wipe on the tide wall so that I did not have to impair it. The only thing that I am actually impairing are the psychic death zones. This helps the healer be able to stand up on the containers and stay out of everything if they would like. There's some things that people say where you get this, that, or the other thing goes on. Again, bomb ad ate me. Luckily, I'm the tank, or else that would be a one-shot. Either way, you've got a lot of stuff going on here. Eventually, he does break off where you can no longer target him. It is, I would consider it a second phase where ads pop out. You want to try to scoop as many of the ads off the healer as you can if the healer is not gearing out all of their health. Normally I stand off to the right hand side with 8,000 hit points when I heal. So, or sorry, the left hand side. The synapse spasm that you see there, that little like jolt of light coming off of him, you don't want to be near anybody else. It is a chain maneuver and it will hurt severely if not one shot the person that is too close to you. I will say you will not be able to impair every single psychic death zone. Don't worry about it. If you aren't able to impair it, move. Just dodge backwards or run backwards, whatever you have to do, just get out of it, as I just did there. And this is basically the second phase where he decides you can't hit me anymore. You scoop up the ads as best you can. Get back on the boss. This is an aggro wipe here, so you do want to be the first person hitting the boss. If not, it does have a tendency to send off whoever hits him before the tank does to their grave. So you do want to watch out for your aggro wipes. Other than that, it's a relatively easy fight. If DPS is slacking, you will have more than one of those phases that just went through. The next thing that I normally do is I have a separate tanking build for the Urdrog. I will slot Mockingbird, Stoicism, and Consequence. Reason being is Mockingbird is a heal that every time you're damaged, you'll heal, and it also causes hate to generate. I do like to use this to help healers out, and it is great on the ad phase. There are no impairs needed here. It is at your discretion. When you get in, it's basically get your back to a wall, keep them between the pillars. Try not to get anyone cleaved when you go in. It does happen. He does a maneuver called slam, again, impair at your discretion. As you see, I just basically move right out of it, and then as soon as he does it, move right back in. The next ability that is at your discretion to carry and impair for is Cosmic Gaze. Um, I eat it. I don't even bother impairing it. I just eat the crap out of it. I'll pull up my Mockingbird so that it heals me at the same time, just to take any stress off the healer if I can or if there's need. I do roll through my stoicism and my illusion is needed. I am using brandishing support with its passive in order to try to help take off some of the damage. The Urdrog does like to pen crit the tank a lot, um, and he's got a really good block rating to him, so it's just best to carry things that are going to enable the healer to keep you up, especially when he does penetrate you. He does put a bleed effect on the tank, and that bleed can stack and stack and stack until eventually the healer is just not going to be able to heal you. So doing everything you can to keep that from happening does help. This is where he begins to run the Val. You will hide behind a pillar. As you can see, I start panning my camera around. I am looking for ads. He spawns little earth things. You want to pick them up because their first target is going to be your healer. So if you don't pick them up, your healer dies, you've wiped the group. It does happen though, especially on first time tanking. So don't feel foul or anything like that. As you can see though, we did get lucky on this phase. We actually had a very lucky run for the Urdrog. It was a one shot, thank God. There are times where he does like to sunder through the pillar or pulverize your pillar, things like that. You will notice he does do 2 pulverizes, and you will also notice we are not shooting the ads. It's just easier that way. Let the tank pick them up, let the healer heal. Basically what it is you won't even hit them anyway because of their block rating and their evade rating and their glance rating is so high. It's not even worth it. Plus, after the second pulverize, as you notice, they have disappeared. This is where you want to get a fix on the boss, get his aggro back, and get your back to a wall again. And then this is just a rinse and repeat from the first phase. You will see him do the slam, impair, or run out of it. Never run out of the slam towards the group because you do have a chance of causing him to turn and cleave the group since the group is normally standing at his sides. At a certain point, you do not want to have the group standing near any of the pillars. So make sure that you do put a warning out for them to stay away from the pillars if they don't already know. Now this is the bubble phase. Normally you'd use sleight of hand, however a cleanup, as you see right there, takes care of that hinder. Get out of the bubbles as fast as you can. If you would like, drop a Crimson Theater there or whatever, Reality Fracture. When you use it, run back in, get your back to the wall, and then you will see this little number happen. On my screen, you can't really see it due to the fact that I have the boss in my face, but all the pillars just exploded. As you can see, we lost 1 DPS to it. He does go through his normal stuff, and bam, done. That is Polaris tanking. If you have any questions about anything, feel free to comment or grab me in-game, and I will definitely give you a hand. Thanks!